So, Song of Solomon, written by King Solomon. That's why it's called Song of Solomon. Written a long, long time ago. King Solomon is the son of King David, and in the line of Jesus. So here we go. Here's the first. We're in Song of Solomon 5:2. We'll read a couple verses, but we're going to go all the way through 6. But I'll read it here. I slept, but my heart was awake. When I heard my lover knocking and calling, open to me, my treasure, my darling, my dove, my perfect one. My head is drenched with dew, my hair with the dampness of the night. And I responded, she responded, this is she, that was him before, I've taken off my robe. Should I get dressed again? I've washed my feet. Should I get them soiled? Anyway, so here's the scene, okay? So she's in bed, she's waiting on her husband, she's waiting on her love to get home, she's worried about him, he's not showing up, he's struck, that thing, and he's out working, he's out doing his thing. She's tired, she's worn out, she's worrying, and then he comes in and he says, hey, I need you, I want you, I love you, and the door's locked, and because we'll read that here in a minute, and she's like, tired. You want me to put my robe back on, put my slippers back on, and meet you and greet you? I'm tired, go away. So that's where we're at. And up until this moment, there's been no strife in this marriage. There's been everything they've wanted, they've had, they've enjoyed it, they've had fun with it. I'm going to spare you the details. But they enjoyed it, they loved it, they did married things, and they liked it, and it was wonderful. But then, now, she's not having it. She's, whatever reason, she worked a full day, she's come home and done all the housework, taking care of the kids, and then he comes home, and she's like, I'm done, I don't want any, I'm done, I don't want any, and he's like, come on, and she's like, no, and she's like, come on, and then she's like, no, I'm done, and there's this strife. So we read on, my lover tried to unlatch the door, not to like kick it down, not to do that, but unlatched it, and my heart thrilled within me. I jumped up to the open door for my love, and my hands dripped with perfume. So she went to unlock the door that he was touching, and he rubbed myrrh on it, and it was perfumed and nice, and my fingers dripped with lovely myrrh as I pulled back the bolt. And sometimes I'm like, she just said that she was like done for the day, and then all of a sudden she's like, changed her mind. But that's it, she changed her mind, right? And she's like, yes, I want him, I miss him, I love him, he's wonderful, he's awesome, I love him. And she runs to him, and she has this fresh aroma, and she's working the bolt off, but verse 6, I opened to my lover, but he was gone. My heart sank. I searched for him, but I could not find him anywhere. I called him, but there was no reply. There was no reply. So he puts fragrance on her, tries to woo her, and then he leaves. And so she gets excited. She's going to see the love of her life. And she goes to the door, and he's gone. And he's not there. Strife has happened. Rift has happened. And we're going to find out what happens. But really, we're going to stop there. But if we continue to read, what happens is horribly wrong. She hits major conflict because of a small conflict. He leaves, and she goes looking for him. And for whatever reason, either there was a curfew or they were just wicked men, the watchmen of the night, the people on the walls who were watching the city, found her, beat her, bruised her, and took advantage of her. And all because of this little moment. And conflict blew up. And conflict happened, and things happened. It's a tough story to think about, read about, and learn, and think through. But here's the thing. Conflict happens, and we can either solve it the healthy way or do it the unhealthy way, and it leads to bigger problems. And we've all been there. We're all married, and we all have relationships and we're not married where we have lost friends or dealt with it, and we need to learn to understand why they happen. And here, I'll give you 2 reasons why we have conflict in our marriage. And here are 2 of them. You're going to probably identify with these, maybe not. There certainly probably is more, but this is the root of most conflicts. The first root is unmet expectations. Unmet expectations. Just in our text alone, you can see the expectation of King Solomon to return home, and his ideas to enjoy company with his lady, but it didn't happen. So there's frustration, and he leaves, and things happen. In today's relationships, man, it probably happens because, man, when I got married, and my dad, he paid all the bills, and he did all the handiwork. He took out the trash. And my husband, he don't do nothing. He don't pay the bills. He doesn't take out the trash. He doesn't even know how to fix the simplest light bulb. He has to call and find out how to change a light bulb. Maybe that's your husband. I don't know. Or maybe you're just tired of going to the cotton patch every day because she can't cook like mom. And these expectations. My wife cooks pretty good, by the way. But you're just tired of eating out all day. Or maybe you're like Solomon and it's not going the way you want it to. And you have these unmet expectations. Or maybe she thought we're going to get up early in the morning. We're going to hang out together and sit by each other and talk and drink coffee together, read the Bible together. And you're a night owl. That's Susan. Or maybe there's just expectation is not met. But that's what it looks like, right? Maybe that's not yours, but maybe we have unmet expectation that we're dealing with that we wish would happen. And for us, early on in our marriage, Susan's really good at details. I'm not. Susan was all about defining the role. Who's going to take out the trash? Who's going to wash the dishes? Who's going to put the toilet seat up? Who's going to do this? I'm like, why can't we just do it when it's full? Why can't we just do it? Why can't we just wash dishes when it's dirty? Why do we have to have a role? Turns out that was pretty good because we needed roles to be defined. She had expectation, I had expectation. They might have been unmet for a little bit, but I wised up and listened to her, and we're good. But unmet expectation will almost certainly lead to conflict and strife. Sure, some expectations are unrealistic, but most of the unmet expectations will lead to conflict. Unmet and unreal expectations can only be maneuvered through when you're communicating. When they're not talked about, then they will grow deep roots, and the problem will grow bigger and bigger and bigger. Second one is self-centeredness. I'm guilty of this one. Let's be honest, man. I like to be self-centered. We talked about this a little bit last week because we said in a consumeristic world, we move into marriage and we sign, whatever it is. We're trying not to use your language, but we enter into the contract. I was going to say we can sign a contract because they were talking about the day I'm married. We're throwing them under the bus here. But yeah, we did it, and I was guilty of it. Like, okay, you're going to move to me. And if not, I'm out. That's the consumeristic mentality of marriage. You move to me, or I'm out. But that's not what God's intention. God is, you move to me, God, you move to God. And as you move to God, your spouse moves to God, and you become one. You become one page, one person, one thing, one couple, whatever you want to describe it. But in this consumeristic mentality, you adjust to me, or I'm out. That's self-centeredness. This is I'm in it for me, I'm in it for me, and if not, you just have to deal with it. You just have to deal with it moment. You get home from work, and she wants the house cleaned and to sit and talk, and you just want to veg out. So you get angry. He wants to do yard work, and he wants you all to do yard work, and all you want to do is get in the bubble bath, or whatever. That's kind of opposite of our house. I like the bubble bath. I haven't been in a bubble bath in years. Oh, but she buys a new purse. I'm going to buy a new gun, right? He bought a new truck, so I'm going to buy me a new SUV. He bought this, so I'm going to buy that. Oh yeah, I'm going to one-up him, watch this, right? Self-centeredness moves in and you create problems. For us, it's like, oh, you bought a donut, I'm going to go buy a kolache. It's about as far as we get with the money. But, like, pretty soon, self-centeredness grows deep roots in a bigger problem. Self-centeredness is divisive. It's a divisive tool that will ruin marriage. Sure, is there me time in some marriage? Yeah, there's me time in marriage. You should. You should miss your spouse. You should miss your friends. You should miss people. But self-centeredness will cause grief, will cause rifts, will cause problems. You're headed for disaster, and conflict will always happen. So identify the biggest root of conflict in your heart and begin to communicate about it. Begin to work on it. Begin to pray over it. Begin to dig it out. Will it be painful? Heck yeah. Yeah, it'll be painful. It'll hurt. But that's what the definition said. Definition said that we are to refine our character. Refine means that you burn out the impurities and the elements that aren't needed. That's painful. So you refine yourself. You get better. And you can only do that through God's help. I mean, you could probably do it on your own for a little bit, but eventually, if you're stuck with self-centeredness, self-centeredness is going to win. And so you continue to have these cycles, but you run to God and you pray over it, you think on it, you look at it, you dig it out, and you let Him, you trust Him, you let Him work. Conflict goes down. You begin to find the root causes of conflict in relationships, and you move past it. Sure, those refining moments are painful, but the other end is purity and beauty and joy. So I want to give you three things to help you resolve conflict. Because we've all had conflict, even we talked about conflict. So, how can we resolve that? I'll give you some ideas. Go talk to them, communicate with them, and visit with them, and tell them how you feel. And sometimes, I'm moving ahead, so we can talk later. Here's the first thing. Is it up there? I will act, not react. I will act, not react. Romans 12:21 says, don't let evil conquer you, but you conquer evil by doing good. From a young age, I was taught the phrase, it doesn't cost a dime to be kind to people, to be nice to people. That's a great, awesome thing. It applies in all areas of your life. And a lot of times I think, it applies to strangers and acquaintances and friends. Sometimes I forget that it also applies to my wife. And that I am to be nice to my wife, to be kind to my wife. And we are to be kind. And so we react. We don't react, we act. We act in goodness and kindness and gentleness. And we move to have her on our mind or him on our mind. And because your spouse deserves kindness. Your spouse deserves gentleness. That's the main fragrance of your marriage. That's the good stuff. So here's one area, criticism has no place in marriage. I'm bad at it. We talk about it. But it really has no place in marriage. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at work, right? With your friends. If you criticize people at work, you criticize your friends, what's going to happen? They're not going to want to hang out with you. They're not going to want to be with you. Same thing happens to your house and your wife. If you criticize her, she don't want to hang out with you. Susan's getting a scowl on her face. I'm going to quit looking at her. You're criticizing me. I love you. But criticism is an evil that will destroy us. There are other evils in our life. I just picked that one. And here's another one. Don't try to change your spouse. This is an awesome one to learn. It's hard to learn. Don't try to change your spouse. I learned this through Susan. When we were young and learning to marry, we both were critical and selfish, and we'd talk, and then she found this book called The Power of a Praying Wife, and she would tell you to go buy it, because it's an incredible book. It's by Stormy Old Martian or Martin or something. And she started, here's what happened. She did what God has commanded. She moved to God. And as a result, I moved to God. She started praying for her own self, for her own life. She started praying for me, started praying this. And what happened was that she didn't change me, but what happened was Susan began to get kinder and sweeter and more loving and more joyous and all these things that I was like, I want to do to her. I want to be joyous. I want to be kind. I want to be nice. I want to love her better. And we both found ourselves, as she worked through that book, moving to God and getting better. And it's been one of the greatest things she's done in our own marriage to get us to be better. She began to adjust to God, and I followed suit. The second thing, I will focus on the good, not the bad. I will focus on the good, not the bad. Sometimes that's hard, especially when you live with somebody so long. You're like, but no, we got to put it in our mind that not only do we have to act, not react, we need to focus on the good, not the bad. Philippians 4:8 is one of my most favorite verses. I call this my life verse, life filter verse. And it says, and now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think on these things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Man, whatever's honorable, true, right, pure, lovely, admirable, excellent, do it. Think on it. Focus on the good, not the bad. Focus on good in your life, not the bad. That's what it's saying. Focus on the good. Too often we focus on bad. We focus on bad, and we live in a state of nagging and criticism, and we begin to look for better things in our life. We begin to look for better people. We begin to focus on the 20% of the person that we're married to that we don't like. We focus on that, and we forget about the 80% that we're compatible. Here's the thing. No one in this world is 100% compatible with you. We're not all the same people, or we would be. Susan and I are compatible on all things. We work together really well. But if I begin to focus on the 20% of Susan that I don't like, I'm pretty much going to start not liking her. And a lot of people do this. And what they do is they focus on the 20% that's bad, and they move, and they begin to focus on that. And so they see 15% that they like in a coworker, and they start to fantasize and think about the 15 to 20% they liked in that coworker, and they trade in the 80% that they like with their husband or their spouse or their wife, and they move to the 20%, and they found out this is just 20% that we have in common. I have messed myself over. And that's what happens in life when we focus on the bad. Is that a drastic scenario? Yeah, but it happens all the time. That's why marriages end in affairs. People focus on the 20 and not on the 80. Is he a little bit dirty? Is he a little bit lazy? But he's a great husband and a great father. He takes care of the house. Yeah? Focus on that. Is she not encouraging enough, but she loves her kids well and she's thoughtful all the time? Focus on that. Billy Graham's wife was asked one time, how do you deal with Billy being gone 7 months of the year? And I wish I could come in. I lost it. She said, we enjoy it. I'll mess it. It's not in my notes. I wasn't going to say it, but I thought about it anyway. Look it up. It's awesome. She basically was like, because we haven't, that's what it was. I wouldn't trade it one day or 1 year with anybody for the 5 months I get with my husband. That's what it was. I wouldn't trade 1 year with somebody, any one man in this world for 5 months with Billy. That's an awesome thing. She focused on the good. She could have been like, he's gone all the time. He's gone 7 months of the year. No, she said, look, he's here. Is that a great marriage? I'm not one to judge. I don't know. You may say, it's not. It's horrible. I don't know, but she was looking at the good. And so that's not maybe your extreme, but what I want you to do is focus on the good. Focus on the good. Focus on the good. Focus on the good. Don't focus on the bad. The next is, I will talk, not walk. I will talk, not walk. He walked. Put all that good fragrance on, got her excited. She was ready to hang with her man, and he walked. If he'd hung just a little longer, he'd have been in joyous moments, hanging with his lovely woman. But he walked. We do that too. We walk. We walk. I come from a divorced family, blended. My mom remarried when I was 4.5. Today is their family union. It's their anniversary. They call it a family union day. And today is that day. And so we all celebrate that and we talk about it. And they've been married 35 years now. But they started out, they both had marriages that were not good. I wish they were, because that would have been awesome. But no, they started out horrible. They didn't know Jesus and all that stuff, and they started out horrible. But they got married, and they lived by a principle that you may not like, but I think it saved our family. Always kiss me goodnight. That's the phrase they used. Always kiss me goodnight. And there's a Bible verse that kind of goes along with it. It's Ephesians 4:26 through 27, and it says this. Don't sin by letting anger control you. Don't let the sun go down while you are still angry. For anger gives a foothold to the devil. So when I was growing up, always kiss me goodnight, I knew what that was. We walked into our mama's room and Jim's room, and it was plastered everywhere. And we knew sometimes they were bad fighters. And we'd hear them up late at night, screaming and yelling. And then we got married, and we try to do it the best we can, but now we're older and we kind of fall asleep at times, but we try to not go to bed angry. Man, that can be hard. We try not to go to bed angry because we know that will give a foothold to the devil in our relationship. Sometimes that's really hard. Sometimes we have to stay up late. There are times where we you do it probably, maybe you do, where we like, we can't deal with it, we're just going to have to go to bed. But here's the thing, when I wake up in the morning, if we've worked it out, and maybe we slept 2 hours, I wake up and I'm in love with her. I'm joyous with her. I'm excited. But if we go to bed back to back, because it's like, it's like, don't you touch me. I'm this way. And Susan has that art of laying there very quietly, like you were in, and I'm like, is she alive? Is she dead? She gives you no satisfaction in knowing she's still breathing. And I'm the opposite. I'm like, and I push myself in the air and I pirouette in like a dolphin, and then rip all the covers underneath me like a burrito, and then lay back down. That kind of thing. That's who I am. And we go to bed angry, and guess what? In the morning when I wake up, guess who's still angry? Me. I'm not loving my wife and excited about being with my wife. I'd rather punch donuts. And that's not right. So we try not to go to bed angry. And sometimes that's hard. You have to stay up late. Sometimes you may not get sleep. I don't know. But it's worth it. Because the devil's real. And if you're a believer, he wants nothing but to destroy your marriage, to kill your marriage and steal it. And if you don't watch out, he'll be successful. He'll be successful. So talk, don't walk. Don't walk. Don't let the sun go down on your marriage. Work it out. Don't go down on anger. If you don't, you'll give a foothold in the devil, and you'll begin to focus on the 20% of somebody else and forget about the 80%. You'll find yourself ruined. Live in kindness and goodness, and let God refine your character through marriage so that you can become one and grow together. Because marriage is worth it. And I said this last week, Jesus truly does desire for you to live in a place where your marriage flourishes. Will there be dry seasons? Yeah. Sometimes you're going to go through a dry season where you're like, this is rough. This is hard. But he does desire you to be in a place where marriage flourishes. But instead of bailing out and walking out, don't go anywhere. Have the right attitude. Begin to work. Begin to see the goodness. Don't act and don't react. Don't walk out and talk. It's really worth it. He's really worth it. And the truth is, he wants to pursue you more than you could ever dream or imagine. And he's real. Let him pursue you. And here's the thing. If you don't know him, if you don't know Jesus, and you don't know how to follow him, I'd love to visit with you. It's pretty simple. The Bible says in Romans 10:9 that if you confess with your mouth, believe in your heart that Jesus is Lord and God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. That's what it takes to follow. That's what it takes to start. That goes for anybody. It doesn't matter where you've been, or where your marriage at, or if you're married, or if you're not married, or if you're living in sin, or if you're not living in sin. It doesn't matter who you are. God can rescue you. And it's good to be reminded that on Sunday, even when you are rescued. Because sometimes we forget. Sometimes we focus on the bad and not the good of Jesus too. Because that's what following Jesus is really about. It's a covenant. It's a walk. It's a journey.